I'd like to call the meeting to order. Welcome everyone to the Gilmer County Board of Education February regular meeting.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, first up we have the agenda for approval, so I make a recommendation to approve it as presented.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Pritchett. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Pfluger. All voting for? All for.
All right, next up we have our invocation by Mr. Josh Moyers of First Baptist Church of Ellijay. Thank you, Josh.
Please pray with me. God, we do thank you so much for this evening. Thank you for the beautiful weather that you've given us. Thank you for the time that we can be here today, and thank you for the leadership that you've placed in this community. We do pray for wisdom on their behalf, for discernment on their behalf, for direction that this community can go to that would be best for the students and the families that are involved. We just thank you for the unity that we can experience in this board meeting as well. We pray for any dissension that may be out there, Father, for it just to go away, for our focus to be on what is best for the students in Gilmer County. We love you so much, and thank you for loving us. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. If you would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. All right, next up we have public participation. We've had no one sign up within the time limit, so we'll move on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda is presented for your review. Previous meeting minutes have been added. The board may place any action item on the consent agenda for approval. They've added the policies for second reading, so if there are no questions, I will make a recommendation to approve.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Callahan. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Penland. All voting for? All for.
Personnel report is provided for your review, and there have been a few additions since the other day, but if you have no questions, I'll make a recommendation to approve.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Callahan. Do I have a second?
A second.
Second by Mr. Pfluger. All voting for? All for.
Okay, next up we have annual school personnel renewals. We'll begin with certified staff recommendations for all school level staff. This includes teachers, certified support, administrative staff at Mountain View Elementary, Clear Creek Elementary, Ellijay Elementary, Clear Creek Middle School, Gilmer High School, and MIP, with the exception of those who are part of any board member's immediate family. If there are no questions, I would make a recommendation to approve.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Pfluger. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Pritchett. All voting for? All for.
Next is our district level non-administrative support personnel. It's the second list there. If there are no questions, I'd make a recommendation to approve.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Pritchett. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Callahan. All voting for? All for.
Next up is our remaining district level administrative staff, not approved last meeting. If there are no questions, I'd make a recommendation to approve.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Ms. Penland. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Pfluger. All voting for? All for.
Finally, we have our immediate relatives of board members. So board members, please abstain from voting when your family member's name is called. First one is Darcy Pritchett. I'll make a recommendation she be renewed for the 24-25 school year.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Pfluger. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Callahan. All voting for? Mr. Pfluger, Mr. Parks, Ms. Penland, and Mr. Callahan. And any abstain? Abstained by Mr. Pritchett.
Next up, we have Meredith Wimpy. If there are no questions, I'd make a recommendation she be renewed for the 24-25 school year.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Pritchett. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Penland. All voting for? Mr. Fluger, Mr. Pritchett, Ms. Penland, all for.
I'll abstain.
Abstained by Mr. Callahan.
Next up, we have Rachel Walters. There are no questions. I'd make a recommendation to renew her contract for 24-25.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Fluger. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Callahan, all voting for. Mr. Callahan, Mr. Pritchett, Mr. Fluger for, abstain. Ms. Penland abstain.
Finally, we have Jenna Lowry. So if there are no questions, I'll make a recommendation that she be renewed for the 24-25 school year.
Mr. Callahan, will you take over this one?
I'll try. Do we have a motion for Jenna Lowry?
Motion to approve.
Have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Fluger, all in favor? All in favor,
Abstain.
except for Mike.
Yeah.
He's abstaining.
All right, very good. All renewals are there. All right. Under operational services, we have a capital asset disposition sheet that you saw on Monday, and I sent you an additional one for I believe it was a 1972 Fruhoff trailer that is not functional any further. So if there are no questions, I can make a recommendation to approve both those capital disposition sheets.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Ms. Penland. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Pritchett. All voting for? All for.
On Monday, we discussed the conversion of the bus shop to a multi-use athletic facility. Mr. Griffith had a estimated cost of $125,000 to $150,000. I believe we've made some changes that would lower that cost a little bit over the last few days. But if you have no questions, if you do have some questions, Mr. Griffith is here, and if you don't, I would make a recommendation that we move forward on that project.
Do I have a motion?
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
I was gonna make,
Where's he at?
He's over here.
What did we lower, what did we cut out? Okay, what did they cost?
10,000 each.
Should be-
Budgeted for two, so 2022. And if we ever decide to put those, they can always go up.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, that's it.
Okay. All right, the recommendations on the table. We didn't have a motion, did we?
no.
Okay, so,
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Callahan. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Pritchett. All for? All voting for.
on Monday, you were provided with bids to demolish and remove the old cannery and the maintenance building behind the transportation building. We're going to relocate that to Clear Creek, I believe. If there are no questions, I would make a recommendation to approve the bid from H&H Services for $60,000 as a low bidder.
Any questions or discussion?
That amount includes the building of that, the old maintenance shop back at Clear Creek,
yes.
correct?
Yes.
That, the erection of that building.
Yeah.
We'll put a slab in it, doesn't put a slab, but
And
we
there's-
the building inside.
There's no way the cannery we could do the same thing with that building as well?
There's not, it's mostly block, there's not a lot to it, as far as saving. And it's a whole different construction, the posts on that thing are really small, and I'm not sure it's stand, it's just a metal building.
Right.
Any others? Do I have a
At this-
motion?
At this
Oh,
time,
sorry.
it doesn't include the barn, right?
No.
It's staying where it's at, right?
Mhm.
Just for using it for hay.
Gotcha. I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Penland. All voting for? All for.
Finally, on Monday, the budget report was provided for your review. If there's no questions, I would make a recommendation to approve as presented.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Fluger. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Penland. All voting for? All for.
Don't really have any announcements, except I would ask everyone to please keep the family of the young man that passed away this morning on 382 in your prayers. If there's nothing else, I'll make a recommendation to adjourn.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Callahan, do I have a second? Second by Mr. Penland, all for? All voting for.
All right, thank y'all very much.